Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer taking a look at the DRF race of the day for Wednesday, April the 17th. It's race number 9 at Tampa Bay Downs. We're going to close out the card with the maiden special weight, going a mile on the turf. Let's take a look at this field. Several first-time starters in this race, Mike. 2 trained by Chad Brown, the 8 John the Baptist, the 2 board of directors. Graham Motion has an interesting one from the rail, the 1 Lucky Last Try.
Feels like a pretty good race for the first-time starters as well, Dan. Just not that much form to go on as far as, the experienced runners go. They just haven't really done that much. So, maybe these firsters, they look good anyway from a lot of different directions, but maybe they just found the right field as well.
Let's start things off by taking a look at the number 1, Lucky Last Try, trained by Graham Motion. Now, Graham usually gives them a start or two before they find their best stride, but this horse has a really solid pedigree. Caracanti is a very underrated sire. 19% winners with debut runners, 18% first-time turf runners, and this guy's a half to a graded stakes winning, a grade stakes placed turf horse named Rocket Legs, and Carlau Vivari, a grade 1 winner on the synth, won the Ashland, I think.
Yeah, her big win came on the synthetic, but she was a very good turf horse as well. There's enough pedigree here. It feels like if the Motion first-time starters win, they kind of just do it on talent alone because he's not really looking to have them all cranked up. 4 for his last 102, Dan, with first-time starters in turf routes, and you're just getting killed if you're betting these horses. The ROI is under $1. But he does have 1 debut winner on the turf this year at a pretty good price.
Board of directors is the number 2, the higher priced on the morning line of the Chad Brown trained first-time starters. This one is by Street Boss. 13% winners with debut runners, 14% first-time turf. This horse sold for $150,000 as a yearling. There's a little bit of pedigree on the bottom here. The dam's a half to Roll Ballard, who was a graded placed runner on the turf. The second dam was a graded stakes winning sprinter.
Yeah, there's enough pedigree here. This female family also goes back to an Epsom Oaks winner. So there's a lot of turf in here. I really like Street Boss as a sire overall, especially as a turf sire. Chad Brown, I mean, man, his first-time starters are pretty good anyway, but at Tampa in particular, it feels like they all win, Dan, 45% with first-time starters at Tampa over the past 5 years with a huge ROI. These horses are ready to run.
My Noble Knight is the number 3. This horse has some turf experience. Racing at Tampa Bay 2 starts back and was wired that day, so maybe just didn't get the right race flow. The issue is that race was a maiden claimer. Now, the 9th place finisher came back to win by 8 lengths. That horse needed a drop to a $16,000 maiden claimer with a 60 buyer, so this guy still has some things to prove from a class standpoint.
Just hard to get excited about what he's done so far. I mean, I will say it kind of feels like the 2 best races he's run have come since the claim for this really good trainer. They're going to come back to turf here. Maybe he can show a little more speed this time, but he's got to do better.
Zimbabwe is the number 4. This one sold for only $2,000 as a yearling by Demarchelle, who is a good turf horse. 8% winners with debut runners, 7% first-time turf. This one's a half to a stakes place dirt sprinter. The dam is a half to Siphonic, who I think won the Hollywood Futurity going 2 turns on dirt.
It's a distance pedigree, not a ton of turf though. At least on the bottom side. We'll see how this sire ultimately turns out to be, but he was a pretty good racehorse. Very limited work tab. Trainer doesn't win with very many first-time starters. I thought this horse was hard to make a case for.
Won't be surprised if the number 5, Intolerable, shows some early speed in this race. This horse was a gigantic price in his prior maiden special weight effort at Tampa Bay Downs. Tired pretty badly in that race, then went down to Gulfstream, ran for the maiden option waiver that day, and again tired. So maybe we'll see some speed. You got to see some more stamina.
The 3 turf races so far, they just aren't any good. The dirt races and the synthetic race, they aren't even as good as those starts. I don't know. This horse is just really hard to like, going to be a very big price.
Zeke's Heart, though, the number 6, is very, very interesting. He has only raced once, was at Gulfstream Park, and he was wired in a slow-paced race by a very talented horse. The winner coming back to take the Cutler Bay with an 84 buyer speed figure. This horse had a tough outside post that day. Just nothing really went right for him. You could treat him, I think, as a first-time starter with some ability.
Yeah, he's, I mean, of the experienced horses anyway. And again, there's not a ton to hold on to with any of them, but this is the one that you're probably going to take most serious. Again, I expect this horse to take money. The debut wasn't even a terrible performance, and he had a lot going against him that day.
Another horse that might have been against the race flow and his one and only start is the number 7, Sebastian the First. Now, we haven't seen this horse since a sprint try way back at Saratoga, but that was a race where they ran 1, 2, 3 all the way around the track. Sebastian the First tried to rally into it. The runner-up came back to run second against fellow New York breds with a 63 Beyer speed figure. Going to have to deal with a layoff and a stretch out in distance, but he is getting Lasix for the first time.
Yeah, and did run probably deceptively well first time. And also, I mean, he's a New York bred, and that was a state bred made in special weight. Now he's going to take on open company here, and maybe they're just going to give him a start here off the very long layoff. But that debut was not a terrible performance, and he actually might be a fair price in this race.
John the Baptist is your morning line favorite. This is the other Chad Brown trained first-time starter by the rock-solid More Than Ready, 11% winner's debut, 11% first-time turf. Lots of European turf on the bottom of this family. The dam's a half to a Group 3 stakes winner in Germany. The second dam was a stakes winner in England. It's a Chad first-time starter with Gallardo aboard, so expect money.
Yeah, it's a homebred. This one is, and there's just enough pedigree to go on. I guess it's something that it's at least worth noting that this is the one that Gallardo rides. That seems like the guy that Chad goes to with these horses. At least it seems like he has first call anyway. So maybe that's all you need to know. I'll be shocked if this horse doesn't run well.
The 9 is Red Roadster, debuted at a very big price, sprinting at Tampa Bay back in January. Just sort of an even performance that day. It was listed as a vet scratch on March the 24th, so it's taken him about 4 weeks to get back into the entries after that. But he did face 2 next out winners in his debut.
Yeah, he just was let go at a big price in that race. And, I don't know about you, Dan, I just didn't really see him do all that much in there. He's just going to have to take a huge step forward here. He's going to have to do it probably in a tougher field with more distance attached and now from an outside post.
Last run, the number 10 has hit the board in his last 3 starts, one of them at Tampa Bay, 2 on the turf. Last time at Gulfstream, he was in against Florida bred, sort of an even performance for last run, who we see getting to the outside here, Mike. He's going to make a little bit of ground. I think this horse might be slightly better than he looks on paper, but he seems to be catching a tough field here.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's just a tough call because as far as the experienced runners go, I don't think you would, shake your head at this horse. I mean, it seems like he fits right in. It's all about the first-time starters in here. It feels like if one of them can run, these experienced horses are in trouble. At least in this horse's case, the last 3 starts are the best he's ever run.
And the also eligible, the 11, Killarg Blessed, would be trying turf for the first time. He would just have to improve, I think, by leaps and bounds to handle this field.
Yeah, I mean, he's very, very difficult to make a case for.
Before we take a look at our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time, Wednesday race of the day, finale at Tampa Bay. You're going with a Chad Firster. I'm going with a Chad Firster. We're going with the same super, just in a different order. I think you get a better price with board of directors.
Kind of why I took him. I like that he's drawn inside as well. He's got a sneaky pedigree too. Yeah. It's not like all right up front, but this horse is bred to have a little bit of talent.
Mike's going 2-8-1-6. John the Baptist, the other Chad, trained first-time starter. And as Mike mentioned, Chad seems to excel with debut runners on the turf at Tampa Bay. 8-2-1-6 for me. Race number 9, Tampa Bay on Wednesday, is our DRF race of the day. Best of luck.